Hang on. Is it okay? Hi, Stewart Huff. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm all right. Do you know there's a place in Grand Rapids called Huff Park?
Huff Park.
There
Is
is.
is it spelled Huff?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I don't know what is it? Did one of your ancestors, General Huff?
I don't know, but I'm gonna demand a percentage
I,
from the city.
very minimum, we could put erect a statue.
Yeah, put a little statue, Dr. Pepper cans.
Why not?
You know,
I,
that's
Dr.
what we
Pepper can.
that's what we should do.
Stuart Huff at Dr. Grin's all weekend comic. Stuart, I don't think I've met you before.
I don't know, huh? I'm usually well, we probably don't want to say JoJo. Is he?
You can, of course, you can
Yeah,
say JoJo.
such a nice guy.
JoJo, yeah, super guy. You can say whatever. We don't care. We're
Good.
good. We're all friends. We love each
Yeah.
other. Now, there's some couple a-holes in town, but we don't need to. We're good.
We're all right.
No.
There's a town in Kentucky that the actual entrance when you're coming into the town, I forget the name of the town, but it says, whatever the name is, and it says a town full of nice peoples and a few D heads.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
You could say that. Nah, it's pretty nice here. Was Grand Rapids nice to you last night? Were there any D heads last night?
No.
Look at me. I'm like,
no,
I will go to their house.
Yeah. And I was actually trying to remember. No, last night was surprisingly a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And big, huge crowd. And we all had fun. Everybody had a good time. And then Garrett and I, who's on the show, and I love Garrett.
I love Garrett.
And we just hung out outside in the cold and talked to strange people that walked by.
You did?
Yeah, we just hung out. I don't know what I'm a magnet for weirdness. People just
same.
Yeah, they see me and they walk up and tell me, about their uncle that owned a bear.
Like, wait, so do you start the conversation or do they? Like when they're walking by, do they come up to you and go, "Hey"?
I don't know what it is, but it might maybe an eye contact. I don't know what empathy. I'm not sure what it is, but they see me and it's not just the homeless will come up and talk to me,
Right.
of course, but in a grocery store, people just come up and tell me about their grandkids. It's the weirdest thing.
You can't help it. You have a welcoming.
I must.
I
Yeah,
guess.
I don't know, and I don't dislike it. I hear weird stuff constantly. It's beautiful.
Okay, weird stuff is good to hear.
Yeah.
It makes you feel so much more normal. It's like hanging out with a person who's heavier than me. I always feel then smaller.
Sure, yeah.
It's the same thing. You feel that much more, or it's just interesting to pass the time. Where are you from?
Originally Kentucky, Campbellsville, Kentucky.
Oh.
No, there's no way you know Campbell.
I don't know Campbell. I
Okay,
don't, but I'm
yeah.
saying Kentucky because your accent is not a Montana.
No, it is not a Montana. No.
It's where do you live now? Do you live in?
My wife got a job teaching, and we're in Georgia.
Oh, why did I think you lived in Montana?
No, maybe that the glass eye story that we were talking about that happened in Montana. I love
do my
Montana.
homework. No, to be honest, I don't do a lot of studying about the person, but I've heard your name and I've seen your stuff, but I don't do a lot of studying because I want to just BS.
Yeah, I would do that.
Why not?
Yeah, that's the way I would do it.
And I'm lazy and kind of stupid, so that's why I don't.
Well,
so okay, right? Are we good?
I love Montana. Have you ever been to Montana?
No, only Colorado, which is Montana light, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Montana's fantastic.
Funny. It's not a funny Montana story. When people say funny story, you better have a funny, silly story. I always know that the capital of Montana is Helena, because my middle name is Helene. And when I was teaching my son when he was a little kid, when I was trying to teach him the state capitals, I said Montana, and that's how he remembered Helena.
Really?
That's the dumbest story, and I already can't. I can edit it out. I already can't take it back.
No, you can't. No, don't
So,
edit that out.
How long have you been married?
9 years.
How'd you meet?
We met.
Trying to take a sip of that coffee. I'm like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, he asked me a bunch of questions while I'm trying to drink.
Right.
Through a mutual friend.
So organically, kind of like you didn't run into
somebody wasn't online.
Somebody fixed you up, or you just met at a.
Yeah, she had a friend that I also was friends with, and we ended up. The first couple times that we were around each other were just at somebody had a bunch of people over for dinner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew her.
Right.
And then we talked more and more, and then got together.
You asked her out. What do you remember your first date?
We went to a park. That's absolutely true. We went to a park, and it was nice. It was a nice day, and just put a blanket on the ground and brought some food, and just sat there and talk.
That's a win.
Yeah, but I'm, I'm 53 now. I mean, I was older. I wasn't,
Right. You weren't,
I wasn't 18,
right.
So at this point, if I think, and I've never said this, but I think at that point, my age, and she's younger than me, but not that much younger than me,
Right.
But I think at our age, we were actually trying to get to know each other. Like, is this worth the energy?
My time. You are so right.
Yeah.
And how little time can we get to know before we, know if this is going to work?
So the idea of a movie, well, that's 2 hours that we're not talking.
Ooh, I like a picnic on a first
Yeah.
date. That's good.
Yeah. And so we just, even drove separately and just met there and blanket. I mean, we'd known each other, been around each other probably 3 or 4 times, but let's just sit down and eat some food and talk, and we'll know after the end.
I
of
like
this.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do either of you have kids?
Yeah. She,
you're never going to drink that coffee.
So I have a stepdaughter who's now 16.
Does she live with you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, she's 16. It's not like she's
and then we have a son together. And then I have a daughter, what I call a daughter niece. I don't know. I donated sperm to my sister and her wife.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, good. That's fun.
Yeah, it is
fun.
It is fun.
You donated sperm. Fun. You have a young one then.
Mm-hmm.
You're 53 and you have
yeah.
Oh, dude.
I know.
Is a boy, a young boy? Is that what
he's a boy. Yeah, yeah.
And
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I mean, I didn't really have kids when I was younger. It's hard to keep up with him. We sword fight with Nerf swords in the backyard.
Yep.
And I get exhausted quick.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was anywhere mentally prepared for a child at 20.
I had my son at 23.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid. The only good thing, if I can say it, is no, I screwed him up. I mean, like I got divorced or remarried, or so I messed him up. 23 is way too young. But now I'm actually kind of young enough to. I mean, we're peers now almost. You know what I mean? Although I turned 60 this year and he's 36, right? Did I do the math right? Yeah. And so, but yeah, but I wish, I always say, had I what I know now, it'd be great. I wouldn't have messed him up like I messed him up,
Right, yeah.
I mean, we've reunited and stuff, but it's a lot with a crazy 23-year-old skank of a whore mom, and then, but no, so that's, but they're great, but that's great. That's fun. The 16-year-old, that's a challenge, or is it good?
It's good. I think I've never, I mean, she's a teenage girl. It's just, you never know when she comes out of the room, what are you going to encounter? What's going to happen?
Right, right.
And she would kill me if she ever heard me tell this, but this is 2 days before I left to drive up here. We're in the, we're in the living room. We're all talking and laughing. And there was a lot of, and she was with us, which a lot of times she's just in her room, And then, so I said to her, so how was your day today? And she goes, oh my gosh. And then she just started just rattling off these things that happen. All of them, none of them significant or bad, but all of them had so much emotional weight to her. And then she started crying, and then she was like, and now I'm crying and I don't want to, and just went into her room.
Well,
so
you bastard.
My son started laughing so hard.
Oh,
and I was like, shh, don't laugh so hard. Don't laugh so hard. And I mean, he was howling because it was absolutely crazy. And it was funny. I mean,
right. She can't help it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, but we get along. And,
I bet.
She has blue hair and piercings. But she also, I didn't tell her to do this. She also found out that the mayor's office was interviewing, young kids for where you come and learn how government works. And she said, I think I would like to do that. And I said, do it. And she went out and bought herself a dress and put on a dress and fixed her hair and all, and went in, and she got the gig. She's now the child that they chose to. So she goes into the mayor's office.
Wow.
Yeah. And sits there and takes notes.
You're not screwing up then.
I mean,
you're okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's a teenage girl, but she's got a job. She works.
That's amazing. That's great. That's the best you can hope for. And that they took the initiative on their own to go do that. And she got that. Oh, I have to
Yeah.
get in here and impress these people. That's great.
Right. I mean, I was so proud of her,
Was the little one excited for the holidays? Is he excited? Does he do the holiday? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Christmas
he's
and all that?
he's 9, so he was all about it, and we had fun. We don't go that overboard with it because
Right.
we don't have the money to go overboard.
God, tell
You
me
know,
about
but he got some good gifts. We had fun. We make cinnamon rolls. That's our thing on Christmas Day. We
it.
make cinnamon rolls.
That's funny. You're like the third person who does
Really?
cinnamon rolls on Christmas
Yeah,
morning.
I never heard of that, but that's what my wife
It's a
grew up
thing.
with.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm never against cinnamon rolls.
Right. Who is?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we had fun. Yeah.
Wow.
How was your holiday?
It was all right. It was okay. This kid's in in Colorado. He lives out there. He's moving
Okay.
back.
Uh-huh.
Moving back to a tiny town up north here called Petoskey, which is one of the great. It's right. Yeah. So they are moving back. He's married to this girl that we keep her and get rid of him all day long. She's the best.
Wow, that's great. That's
Yeah.
good news.
And so that's that. But did you? So how is he with you? Because you're on the road a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like? How often are you home? Are you?
When he was really little, it didn't occur to him that I was gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
When it was real
Right.
little,
Right.
and then when it did become a thing, it was not good for me. It's
hard.
very difficult.
Yeah.
To be 16 hours away from home and on the phone with him crying.
Yeah, I hear you.
When
Yeah.
are you coming home? You know what I mean? Yeah, it was heartbreaking. And so I thought about quitting, and doing something else. And then I decided we sat down and had a talk. He was probably 5 and we had a talk. And I said to him, I have to make money. So either I get up and go to work every day, and then you would see me, in the evenings, or I can spend all day with you for 3 or 4 days a week,
Yeah.
and then I'm totally gone. So do you want me part every day for a little bit,
Oh,
or
sweet.
3 or 4 days all day? And then he said, "Why do you have to go make money?" And then I said, "You love bananas, right?" And he said, "Yes, I love bananas."
My favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, "Bananas cost money, and I have to go get the money to buy you the bananas." So that's what he does still to this day. He'll call and he'll say, "How many bananas did you make last night?"
I love. He's got a sense. This kid's funny.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
laughed at the daughter. He
oh,
laughed at
God.
the sister. He's now making fun. I mean, the banana
Yeah, this
thing.
kid is hilarious, and it scares
Uh-oh.
me. It scares me a little because he's not allowed to be a comedian. He's not
Right.
allowed.
That's what I told my
Yeah,
son.
and
You're not getting in
he's
radio.
like 85. He's so over people. He's done. We went to a birthday. He was
Old soul.
invited to some birthday party. So we pull up and there's kids running, and he's a young boy, but he's not energy. He likes to sit. He can play,
Well,
Legos, or he loves drawing, and he does math. He likes doing math. And
oh,
I know. It's like, what?
what?
And so we pulled up to this birthday party, and he just looked at those kids. He goes, "No, not happening."
And I love this kid. And you left the party.
I was like, "Really? You don't want to go?" I said, "There's cake." And he goes, "Ugh, that's probably store bought." So we left. We drove away.
I did that at a family Christmas one year. No,
Oh, really?
got COVID. Bye, COVID. I actually did get COVID 2020 Christmas, the
Mhm.
first year. Everybody, oh, you're gonna, and I didn't have any symptoms. It was the best Christmas I ever had. Just laid stuff at my doorstep. It was the best.
Oh
I have
my
COVID,
God.
can't do.
Can't do it.
I like this kid. I'll go, like, I'm always I'll get there early and I do what's it called? The Irish goodbye when you got to leave a place. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. He's like an 80-year-old man, and so am I.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, his dad's 53.
That,
Not
yeah,
that.
Whoa. I mean, in my head, I'm 80.
Right. Me too.
But the problem is, it's hard to discipline because I get it. Like, what, you know what I mean? He will.
They are jerks. You can call them jerks because
Yeah.
those assholes are being assholes.
Right, exactly. So he says something, and I'll be like, "I think as a father, I should probably point out that you shouldn't say that." But that was like we were
But you're not wrong, son.
yeah, we were at this party. I have no idea if you're going to find this funny, but this was hilarious.
Okay.
We were at this party, Christmas party for my wife's family, okay,
Okay.
who are hillbilly.
They're
right?
from, okay.
Yeah, and so everything is about fishing or God, So
Right.
they have the manger scene with all and there's like 9 of them, with the little, all the
Baby
so
Jesus, right?
baby Jesus. And my son, we walk in the door and everybody's hugging and all that. And my son, who doesn't want to be there anyway, walks in and looks at this manger scene. He goes, "Oh, that's that little baby that everybody likes."
I'm going to start coughing too. That's what old people are. I was raised Catholic, so you can't offend me with any of that crap. Oh my God, I was raised.
I loved it so much. Everybody in the house was just like quiet. No one laughed, and I was like, "Are you kidding? That's that baby everybody likes.
Everybody cares about, right? This is after Santa's where it's at. That's that baby that everybody's a flying.
It's hilarious.
That's that baby that everybody cares. Oh, that's great. So when did you think, oh, you could do this comic thing? When's the first time you thought I can do this? Like, were you funny in school?
No.
What?
Well, I was weird. I'll tell you what I did in school. I did not know that this is what I was doing at the time. Okay. But in hindsight, the structure of society, I mean, it's all made up. You know what I mean? And I liked messing with that. So if you have a set of rules, then what can I do? So I would do these bizarre things. To me, they weren't bizarre at the time. They were just natural. One out of that, our high school was up on a hill. Okay. And kids would leave and go down the hill to McDonald's and then come back. So they actually hired a security guard to like literally pick kids up and drive them back to school. So there was this
to man the hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the principal was always on the roof of the school with binoculars and a walkie-talkie.
God.
It was so dumb.
What a chode, right?
I know.
Right. What a life. Somebody was married to him.
I know. It was and even as like a 15-year-old, I was like, this is the dumbest crap.
Right.
So then I went and got on the middle school roof, which was right next to the high school.
Yeah.
And I had brought binoculars from home. And I climbed up the ladder and I got on and I watched him watch kids until he eventually turned towards my way and saw me with binoculars looking at him. And then he had to send the security guard to come get me off the middle school roof.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that so much.
And I did stuff like that constantly. Just like I felt like this society is so dumb.
Well, try going to Catholic schools. I had to wear uniforms. So the last day, me and my friend were such rebels. We dyed it pink, and it didn't really show up very well on green play. But so we had to say, "Look, we dyed ours. We dyed ours." Right? Yeah. We had to, which is sad, but we did. Yeah. So when's your first time on stage? When do you go? Do you do an open mic? How do you?
I was in college.
How does Stewart Huff get on stage?
I was in college, and I knew that I didn't want to be in college, and I didn't know this at the time, but looking back, you can see it clearly. I was worried that if I graduate, I'm gonna end up in a cubicle with a tie and a suit.
Yeah.
And then it's over at that point, is what I thought.
Insurance or something, right?
Yeah.
Money.
So I fled. I ran away from college. I gave away all my possessions. I was living in my car. I was homeless. And I had not done comedy, but I always kind of liked comedy, especially comedy from the 60s. That's when this is in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I had comedy. I had Woody Allen and Bob and Ray and all these old
George Carlin,
early Carlin, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Lenny Bruce fan.
Wow.
So, yeah, I love Lenny. So anyway, I just decided I'm going to do this. And I think I had nothing else. I was homeless. I had no prospects I had no income, no nothing. So I just first time I went to a comedy club was to go up and do it. Like I'd never even seen it.
Did you know what you were going to say or just go up and BS?
I wrote jokes.
Oh, you wrote? Okay.
Yeah, but they were all like, they weren't good. Not only were they not funny, but they weren't current. So my head was full of the 60s.
This surprises me with you because I'm older than you. And I anti-establishment, I was just on the very end of anti-establishment, very end of the hippie, I had older brothers and sisters and the youngest of 5 because we're Catholic.
Right.
Italian, Catholic, and Polish, right. And so very end of that whole, so I was there and knew of it, but for you to get that's really, you were kind of an old soul. Kind of a
still
smart,
the most fascinating.
Really is.
It really is. I mean, there's a couple of points in the history of this country, I think, that you could argue are the most fascinating. And that whole 50s in the beat generation into the 60s.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it was just, fashion and crap. But the questions they brought up and a lot of the art that was created, it's still my favorite.
I believe what you're saying, that there was no other, not really movement, time period that was so shocking from decade to decade.
Yes.
70s to 80s, 80s to 90s was more fashionable. But the 50s to 60s was completely
different.
You went from this is the way we're all going to be, period, end of sentence, to no, we're not. And
Right.
never has it been so stark than then. It's basically suit to underpant, I guess, is another way to.
I think that's well put. Yeah.
So
it was.
I agree with you.
Sharp turn.
I wonder, but why were your parents into that? Why are you so?
I don't know. I like reading.
Yeah, I was gonna say you read a few things.
Yeah, I like reading.
Okay.
And I also like like especially albums, I would buy an album and I would look at the back and it would say in the liner notes, someone would say, it's kind of like blah, blah, blah. And I would go, well, who's blah, blah, blah. And then the next thing you know, I'm at the record store asking weird questions. You know what I mean? And yeah, and
I miss a record store.
Oh God, I love.
They kept bringing them back. Vinyl. I have all my vinyl. Not
I do too.
All of it, but a lot of it. And then from working in radio,
yeah,
I was what's called the music director. So I got to.
Oh my gosh!
God,
so
some great stuff. Yeah. But box sets and all that stuff. But it's especially a comedy album too. We bought comedy albums back. We bought the George Carlin album.
Yeah,
I mean that's how you got that, because nobody was.
Yeah,
we weren't seeing it on television.
I mean, I remember Carlin and just reading all those liner notes, and Carlin would put things in there, in his act. Or Lenny, let's talk. Lenny.
Yeah,
Lenny would drop names like young comedians today say Lenny Bruce wasn't funny. Lenny Bruce takes work. It was a different time. He was Jewish. He was into the jazz scene.
Yep.
So if he is dropping slang words, that Jewish slang and jazz idiom, you have to know what that means. So you have to stop listening and Google something and learn. Yeah. So he's dropping people's names and doing a bit about Georgie Gibbs. And you're like, it's not funny. You don't know who Georgie Gibbs is. That's the reason. You know what I mean? So it's like if you told me a joke right now with a current pop star, and then in 50 years, 60 years,
that? Right.
They're going to have to do work to get it.
I also feel like he pioneered that kind of FU. I mean, I'm sure it was around prior to him. I think it was a little more slapstick, but it was as mean, but I mean, as in your face, but a little more slapstick. But he really was, he after him, people tried to emulate him after him.
There's been very, very few comedians since Lenny that aren't doing an impression of Lenny. Does that make any sense?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They all want to be that aren't because he was organic. Yeah, he was
Lenny
his own.
Changed the way the art form is done. It's like Coltrane. I mean, you can't play jazz without knowing and being influenced by John Coltrane. It's impossible.
Yeah,
he changed the way it was presented. So Lenny Bruce, every single comic that I've ever seen live, and I've been doing it 28 years, is doing Lenny Bruce. He changed the way comedy is done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was funny. I mean, he was laugh out loud funny. And I've talked to a couple people, 4 or 5 people that saw him live.
Really?
Yeah.
And a troublemaker. I like that he stirred it up and
in trouble. That's the thing. I mean, but pre-Lenny, jokes were interchangeable.
Yeah.
Everybody did everybody else's jokes.
Yeah.
No one really know who wrote them. And the idea was just you're supposed to entertain a crowd with jokes. So, and then Lenny started talking about the president and church and the way he felt about things. That was not done previous to Lenny. And now, even people that are specifically trying to do a character are still doing Lenny. Do you know what I mean?
Do you do any political stuff in your? I don't know a lot of your.
It depends on what.
I haven't seen a lot of you do. I think your jokes are political without being political. Like
there you go.
That's
There you go.
That's what I feel like.
Garrett and I were talking about this last night. I don't think I'm good at what Lenny did. What Carlin did was more of an in your face.
Yep.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't
tell
care.
you why this should be this way because it's stupid that it's yeah.
That's not my personality. I'm more of a observer, and so what I do is what I like trying to do anyway. And sometimes I succeed is I'm going to say something. There's everything I do on stage has a point. It's just it's not in your face. It's underneath something. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you a story that you're laughing about, you know, but the meaning is there. Does that make any
Yeah,
sense?
totally. I like a story. I much prefer a storyteller than a douche, douche. I mean, listen, I can appreciate it in your face, I just feel like a storyteller's a little more rich, a little more lived, a little more.
Mhm.
I have to bring this up. I brought it to you up in the break room. I had a college roommate, Lynn. She had a glass eye.
Mhm.
She had a glass eye. She came in and she was a lesbian. So
Mhm.
this girl had stories and she was a bookie with her
What?
dad. She was this is true stories from the other side of the state. She's from here in Michigan. I went to
That's
Central Michigan
awesome.
University. So this girl had the glass eye was the first thing that we noticed is okay, she got glass eye and she would take it out like at night. And it
Oh, that's
wasn't a round.
great.
I always picture them round. I always think the whole eye comes out. No,
Right,
it's a
yeah.
plate. So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
for those who don't know, but
Right.
and she would take it out and she was in elementary school. And you know how the jealousy when the windows open like this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was closing a window and tripped and fell in the corner of that window. So
Oh.
she's
Ooh.
her parents sued and her and her dad were they made all this money and so she became a bookie at a young age.
Wow.
And my brother had the biggest crush on her. And she said, I'm never going to date your brother. And I'm like, why? And I knew because she had a really close, there was this volleyball coach that she was really close with who'd come and visit her and they'd stay in their room together. And I'm just college. I'm 17 years old. I don't know anything. I'm from the outskirts of, this town, actually, Grand
Right, right.
Rapids. And so she said, well, I'm a lesbian. So I'm
Mm.
like, you are the most fascinating human on earth.
Yes.
She had a story for
That's
everything. Lynn.
amazing.
And so the glass eye thing, though, asking about the glass eye catapulted it into why she has the money. Then she played volleyball with the glass eye, and then she led the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was a great starter. So I've kind of been mesmerized with glass eye something because it's a story starter. Your story, you're in Montana,
Mhm.
the glass eye story. Some guy cowboy comes up to you and wants to buy you a drink, and he has a glass eye, and you're like, I'm in.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is so good.
That's a good example. By the way, I would love to meet this friend of yours, the lesbian glass eye volleyball
Find
player.
her, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make her come to one of your shows. Make you buy you a drink.
Yeah, the
And she was a
Montana.
bookie. She was a bookie. Like I'd be like, "Why are you on the phone all the time?" This was before cell phones.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "I'm waiting for a call. I'm waiting for some guy to call. Why are you on the phone all the time?" She's gonna get crap going. I never knew she'd sit out in the hallway with the corded phone.
Oh my God.
And her dad and her were in the bookmaking business. They were
That's
really, she was
incredible.
great. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in such a, I like my parents, but it was a very 50s,
Same.
you know.
Catholic. I never knew a lesbian bookie
I
glass
know
eye.
I didn't know these people walked,
Right.
they're in line with us at Dunkin'. This is awesome.
I know my
You know
other
what I mean?
roommate was an alcoholic. I'd never been around an alcoholic.
That's
My parents, we didn't have
fantastic.
beer. It was the greatest education. Screw college. It was the greatest freshman year I ever had in my life.
The most interesting exhibit at the zoo is the parking lot, and that's the truth. I mean,
you
these
are
people,
so right.
They
You are
just
so
walk
right.
around. These people are, it's incredible. The Montana, and I haven't told this story in so long, but Montana, I'm in Montana and I do my show, and some guy, hey, can I buy you a drink? And I turn around and it's a cowboy, huge cowboy hat, glass eye. So I'm in, I'm gonna drink.
Oh, hell yeah.
A cowboy with a glass eye.
You were
amazing.
You were about to go have a conference on how to cure cancer, but you bagged it to stay with this guy.
Right, yeah.
You would have done anything, nothing else to be with. I agree with you.
Are you kidding? This is amazing.
No kidding.
Who could walk away from this?
I'm in. My Uber's here. Get out. I'm here. Right.
And I'm sitting there, and I want to know, tell me about the glass eye, but I don't want to be that guy
It's
who's
rude.
like, hey,
It's
tell me
rude.
about, right?
But you want to know, but
Yeah.
you're rude. You can't say it.
So I'm sitting there.
Your parents gave you that at least. Right.
I'm sorry I keep coughing.
No, it's okay. No, it's all right.
Yeah. So this guy's drinking hard. I mean, slamming. And I'm sipping. I'm from Kentucky. I've got a bourbon. I'm sipping bourbon.
Sure.
This guy's slamming whiskey. So at some point, and I can hear the slurs, and I know where he's headed. At some point, he turns around and he says to me, "My youngest son is the dumbest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life." So, and then I knew at this point, you're going to say this to a total stranger.
Yeah.
So I just went, oh, that's amazing. How'd you get that glass eye?
Tell me about the glass. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So he goes, oh, that's a good story. He goes, so I'm driving along in my pickup truck, hit a patch of ice. Damn truck flips 3 times. My lucky horseshoe comes off my rear view, pokes my damn eye out. I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. So, and I'm trying to make conversation with the guy, right? Trying to make things normal. So I said, I guess it's no longer your lucky horseshoe, right? He goes, what? Of course it's my lucky horseshoe. Who knows what would have happened if it wouldn't have been there?
See, you can't. I mean, I would say you can't write that, but it's such an eloquent story, and it's true. I mean,
you don't want to know. Do you really want to know? Is that true or not?
I don't want to know if it's true or not.
Okay, good.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
This is
Absolutely
so great
not.
because I want to say 2 things. My stepdaughter was 10. I think she was 10, or I forget how old she was. But anyway, she came out and sat down on the couch with me. And this is, during December, not Christmas, but, early December.
Yeah.
And she sat down. She goes, Daddy, is Santa Claus real? And I looked at her. I said, do you really want to know the answer to that question? And she stared at me for a good couple of seconds.
Oof.
And then got up and walked away and went to her room because she knew I would tell her the truth.
Yeah.
No. But the glass eye Montana guy, the idea that you would hold on to this made up crap like lucky horseshoes or karma or any of this stuff that humans make up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it is in a way talking about the idea of bullshit beliefs.
Yeah.
But I'm not, Carlin would say these people that believe in horseshoes are stupid. And he would have a very smart punchline with it, but he just says things bluntly. I come in a different way. I'm not saying my way's better. It's just different.
It's visual. I could see you there. It's visual. I don't want to know anything. It was brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's talking about beliefs and bullshit, and everybody laughs.
Yeah,
and if you're laughing with that, you agree with that. You just
oh, it's the dumbest thing ever. Right,
the dumbest thing ever.
Thank you for coming in today. I feel like I could talk to you like forever.
Oh,
this
is
great.
Fun, huh?
I know.
We had fun.
This is great. Listen, join Dr. Grin's. I'm sorry, Garrett's like, holy crap, that was long. That's fine. We had fun.
How long were we on?
Take a guess. Maybe if you had to guess.
26 minutes.
33. Usually this is a 20-minute thing.
We went over our time. Someone should have given us a like.
Yeah, give it the click or the hook, the cane. That's what I miss. Why don't they use the cane anymore? The cane's way better than a light.
Let's get the cane.
Right, or the bing. We don't want a bing. I want a cane. The cane's good. It's physical.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stewart Huff. He's at Dr. Grin's all weekend. If we want to find out more about you, where can we?
I'm not a fan of social media.
That's fine.
There is some stuff on YouTube. There's what do they call it? Spotify? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing.
If you're going to actually check me out, the album I'm proudest of is called God Hates Ann. That's God Hates Ann, and that's on Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in with that.
Yeah. If you're going to judge me by that, and if you don't like it, I'm fine with that.
Because I found you. If the glass eye's an old thing, somebody's promoting a show that you have that's coming up recently with that old bit.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I found online, and then I watched some YouTube stuff.
Good.
But it's fantastic. It's a fantastic bit. Thank you for coming in. Come back when you come back.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, even waking up early. I like it.
That's great. Right. Thanks for waking up. All right. Derek Huff, Dr. Grin's all weekend long. That's great. Thanks.